Welcome back, folks. Dale Jackson here. Today we are going to discuss the Herschel Walker candidacy and how the media is having a hard time understanding that just because they have an allegation against Herschel Walker, an allegation that I completely believe that Herschel Walker did, in fact, pay for an abortion of an ex-girlfriend. I don't deny that or pretend that's not happening. They start this off, Alisyn Camerota and Scott Jennings, Camerota being a liberal CNN anchor, supposed to be reporting the news, but instead is basically a talk show host, versus Scott Jennings, the only Republican involved at CNN anywhere that can actually stand up for Republican principles. This is a guy who tries to explain to Camerota the reality of the situation. It all starts off with her basically saying, well, you don't believe him, do you? Implying that if you don't believe Herschel Walker, then you can't support his candidacy. And that's just not reality. Let's watch this conversation. It's kind of mind-numbing, to be honest with you, but let's watch.
Yeah, he denies it. The Daily Beast hasn't printed her name. I find it interesting that no other media outlet will confirm the reporting either. So I don't know what the truth here is. I'll tell you how Republicans, at least a lot of Republicans, are analyzing the situation, though. And that is, it's in October. It seems to be a little nebulous what happened here. And, you know, it feels like like an October surprise. And so
It is an October surprise. It's designed to be an October surprise, and nobody should be shocked that it's an October surprise at all. And it's worse than that, though. It is a Kavanaughing, a Roy Mooring of Herschel Walker, where you make an allegation that you can't disprove, and then you say to all the people who might support him or Republican candidates everywhere, so what do you think about this Herschel Walker thing? As if you're supposed to be able to disprove something when you don't give the name of the individual, as Scott Jennings just said. It's years ago, and you can't prove any of it, so you can't disprove it. But so you just lean towards, we believe the woman, right? And you have to believe that. And if you don't, of course, you're a monster. And that's sort of how they frame this thing. And Scott Jennings says, well, people are going to dismiss that for a reason. Let's continue.
You're going to see Republicans discounting it for that reason. And then there's the macro argument of, you know, at the end of the day, is Herschel Walker's candidacy perfect? No. Neither is Raphael Warnock's. And there's a simple question, which is, who's going to run the country? Is it going to be Democrats running the country in full, or are Republicans going to get a seat at the table by winning one or both chambers? And so that issue may trump any personal trepidations they have about an individual candidate in Georgia or anywhere else for that matter.
He's right. That's exactly correct. People are more concerned about the direction of the country than Herschel Walker's personal issues, as they should be. They're not going to say, hey, I'm going to vote for someone that I disagree with on everything because I disagree with this one aspect of Herschel Walker's life. The media wants them to because they want the battle to be about personalities and things like that, because on the issues they get destroyed, which is why you're about to see Alisyn Camerota snidely come in here and pretend that Raphael Warnock's never been clear on where he stands on abortion, so you can't say that he's up for abortion until birth. But the simple fact is, if you ask these Democrats, hey, what do you believe on abortion, they'll say no restrictions. What about 8 months? No restrictions. It happened in the Senate debate in Arizona. Where do you stand on abortion? I believe in Roe v. Wade. They don't want to answer that question because that question getting answered destroys their campaigns even further. So they want to make it about Herschel Walker's personality, his extremism, this problem. Well, voters are going to say, who do I want controlling the country? Let's continue.
Scott, this isn't the first time that Herschel Walker has said, well, let me put it this way. Herschel Walker has a track record of not telling the truth about his past.
So does CNN, and so does Raphael Warnock.
Hasn't fully explained how many kids he owned up to. He's talked about his college education, which turned out not to be true. He's talked about him having been involved in law enforcement, which turned out not to be true. I could go on. He has a long track record of saying untrue things.
So does Adam Schiff on CNN. And Richard Blumenthal lied about his military service. They never called him out on that. All of a sudden, this is the integrity police, right? Right.
So you're saying that in this situation, you believe him?
No, I'm saying I don't know what the truth is. I'm saying the Daily Beast has run a story which nobody else will confirm, including CNN, by the way. And Herschel Walker says it's not true. I don't know what the truth is. But I will tell you this. There are a lot of Republicans out there saying in a worst-case scenario, it is true. And Herschel Walker did pay for an abortion. And you know what? Raphael Warnock wants to pay for all of them and up to the moment of birth. And so, you know, is this a perfect candidacy?
I don't think that's right, Scott.
Alisyn Camerota pretends she isn't following the news and doesn't understand how the world works. The Democrats haven't taken the position that that everyone in the government and your taxpayers should be paying for abortion and there should be no restrictions. She pretends she doesn't understand it because she's trying to muddy the waters. It's a dishonest position, but she basically has to say, I don't understand what's going on around me because I can't defend this.
I think that, Scott, that's just not true. Raphael Warnock has never said he wants to pay for abortions up till the moment of birth. That's not true, Scott.
He has absolutely voted for unlimited abortion access. Full stop.
There's no question about it. Because he didn't put it on a campaign sign doesn't mean that it's not true. Alisyn Camerota knows that, and she's playing fast and loose with the facts because you don't have Warnock on tape saying it doesn't mean it's not true. And all Alisyn Camerota has to do is send Manu Raju out to Raphael Warnock's campaign and ask him, when should we cut off abortions? 6, 7, 8 months? 9 months? And I guarantee you, if he ever gets asked that question, he'll say never. He'll say it. She knows it.
That is a true statement. 100% true. He did it earlier this year.
Yeah, but the idea that there are abortions happening into the moment of birth is just not true, Scott.
She shifted the argument. Now she's saying it doesn't happen. But Raphael Warnock would allow it to happen given the power. And that's a fact. And I'm a pro-choice guy, but come on, let's tell the truth.
As you know, I mean, that's
I know you and I have argued about this before,
yes.
But the bill that Schumer put on the floor this year, which Warnock voted for, and all the Democrats except for a couple voted for, absolutely had no limits on access to abortion. And so if you're the average pro-life Republican and you're looking at these two situations, I'm telling you, that's how you would analyze it.
But that's different, Scott. That's fear-mongering, what you're describing. But
it's fear-mongering because he's accurately describing the position Democrats hold. And she doesn't like that happening. That's a fact. It's fear-mongering. That's different. Blah. She wants to move on. Hey, listen, here's the deal. Republicans are going to look at the candidates and say, who supports what I believe in more? Just because I don't like someone personally or have a problem with their character doesn't mean that I have to throw away my political positions. Trump's a perfect example of that. Hell, Joe Biden's a perfect example of that. There's more to it than this one story that the media wants to focus on right now. The American people are different than the media is. They don't fixate on one thing and let them pretend that it's a disqualifier. And plus, in this particular case, as the media brings this out right before an election, people trust them more and more, to their detriment. But this is what the media does, and they lose credibility with this stuff every single day. Every single day. Alisyn Camerota is a fraud, and that's just the way it is. So let's remember, Republicans will make different decisions than the media wants them to, and that will drive the media absolutely crazy. Scott Jennings here is great, by the way. 3-on-1 here in this conversation. Yes, we're showing you just Camerota and Jennings, and he destroys these folks every time. Scott Jennings is a superstar, and conservatives should be happy that he's the one good Republican on CNN. Thank you very much for watching here today. We'll obviously be back with more videos as time goes on. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll talk to you soon.